Hello everybody, and welcome to the Fortean Slip Bedtime Stories. Tonight, the true story that inspired A Nightmare on Elm Street. From the LA Times, January 11th, 1987. Since April 1983, at least 130 Southeast Asian refugees have left this world in essentially the same way. They cried out in their sleep, and then they died. Medical authorities call this Asian death syndrome. The refugees have various names for it, one of them being night terror. But Dr. Robert Kirshner says it all roughly translates as the same thing, nightmare death. As a deputy Cook County medical examiner, Kirshner has investigated 5 nightmare deaths himself, including a Laotian father and son who died in a Northside Chicago apartment, in bed, asleep, and only 15 months apart. The people in the neighborhood are terrified, Kirshner says. The victims had much in common, Kirshner found. First and foremost, that nothing seemed to be wrong with them before they suddenly died. These are all healthy men with no previous symptoms. The average age was 33, he says. The situation is almost always the same. It only occurs in men, and it only occurs in their sleep. The report is they cry out and die or are found dead the next morning. Standard autopsies revealed little about the deaths other than that they were caused by a sudden heart stoppage. Such an occurrence in Asians is mystifying, since their rates of ordinary cardiac disease and malfunction are extraordinarily low, primarily due to their low-fat diet. But detailed examinations of the victims' hearts performed by Dr. Frederick Eckner of the University of Illinois College of Medicine turned up something strange. All of the 18 hearts were slightly enlarged, and 17 showed defects in their conduction systems, the array of fibers that carries electronic impulses from the brain to the heart. The fibers were frayed and curled, as if, Kirshner says, their hearts just shorted out. It is Kirshner's theory that something at night, perhaps a random electronic discharge, and yes, perhaps a nightmare, overloaded these defective hearts, causing the sudden deaths. This makes the nightmare death all the more curious, since studies of whites who die suddenly has not shown the same defect. Thus, Kirshner speculates genetics probably plays a large role in the defect, which may be present from birth. Nightmare deaths are only found in certain Asian populations: Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, as well as the Philippines and Japan. It has not been reported in China.